one, multiplying. Easiest one of them all. You multiply the numerators and you multiply the denominators separately. You haven't got to change anything. Bizarre that it's the easiest because it's multiplying. You think adding and subtracting would be, wouldn't you? But it's not. Multiplying is your easiest one. So here we have 1 multiplied by 1 is 1. 2 multiplied by 4 is 8. Next easiest is dividing. Learn this. KFC. The K is for keep, the F is for flip, and the C is for change. And what you do as soon as you see a division fraction, you don't divide fractions. You'd have to turn them into a decimal and that would be complicated. So what you're going to do is you're going to keep the first, you're going to flip the second fraction. When you flip it, you've turned it into the reciprocal of that number. So 1 over 5, its reciprocal is 5 over 1. And then you're going to change the sign. So you change that into a multiplication sign and then you handle it exactly the same as multiplying, and you multiply the numerators and the denominators separately. So 1 times 5 is 5, 1 times 3 is 3. That is a top heavy fraction, so you should change it into a mixed number. I will go into that more, but for now that would be 1 whole 1 and 2 thirds. Now on to adding and subtracting. These are a little trickier. You have to have the same denominator and you only add the numerators. The first one we expect the denominators, they're both fifths, so that's brilliant. We just add the numerators. 1 plus 3 gives us 4. Denominator always stays the same. Here's the subtraction one. You can see here we've got different denominators. Have a look. If you can make the smaller into the bigger one, then that's what you do. So you would rewrite that as 3/4. That's fine. Subtract. Now how do we change a half into quarters? We're going to multiply that by 2. And whatever you do to the bottom of a fraction, you must do to the top. It retains exactly the same values, and that will give us 2. 2 times 2 is the 4 that we wanted. Now we can go ahead and solve that. 3 minus 2 is 1, and the denominator stays the same, so that gives us 1/4. Now that's not too tricky, but when adding and subtracting do get a little tricky is when the denominators are different and you have to find the lowest common multiple. So in other words, we've got to find a number that 7 and 5 both divide into, and that will be 35. So let's move this over here, trying to fit this all on one page for you, so I know it's a bit cramped, but we have a 7 plus 1/5. We're going to have our fractions now going to be over 35. And how do we make a 7 into 35? We multiply it by 5. Whatever we do to the bottom, we have to do to the top. So that top number, 1 times 5, that's going to be 5. This one here, how do we make a 5 into 35? We multiply it by 7. Whatever we do to the bottom again, we have to do to the top, and that gives us 1 times 7 is 7. And now we have exactly the same denominators, we can just add the numerators. So we're going to have 12 over 35. I can't simplify that. Let's say you had 12 over 30, and you could simplify it because 6's go into that. So 6's into 12 would go 2, and 6's into 30 would go 9. So your new fraction there would be 2 over 9. Make sure your answers are always presented in their lowest possible terms. Now let's have a look at whole numbers. These stump many people. If you get a question where you've got to either multiply, divide, add or subtract a fraction by a whole number, make the whole number in a fraction form. Just pop it over 1. 2, that's your whole number, multiplied by 3/5. If you just do that, I tend to do it faintly because I know then I was dealing with a whole number. And when you write it like that in fractional form, it's exactly the same as a whole number, because anything divided by, and remember that's all a fraction line is, it's a division sign. So anything divided by 1 is itself. And now you can go ahead and multiply the top, multiply the bottom, and that will give you 2 times 3 is 6 over 1 times 5 is 5, which will give you 1 whole 1 1 and 1/5. And lastly, mixed numbers. So mixed numbers and top-heavy fractions. This is a top-heavy fraction. You won't get a mark for it if you present your answer like that. You've got to change it to a mixed number. And the way you do that is you say 9 divided by 4, that equals 2, and whatever is left over, that stays at a fraction with the same denominator. Let's try one more, going from a mixed number to a top-heavy fraction. Let's say you have 4 and 3/5. What you do is you multiply the 4 by the 5s. 4 times 5 is 20 plus 3, so that will give you 23 over 5. So if you have that in a multiplication question, it's much easier to use that than to use the mixed number. I hope that all helps. What I would do is I would go back and watch the video a few more times, pause at each stage, practice the question, particularly the dividing one, keep flip change, and also whole numbers. As soon as I learned how to deal with whole numbers to put them over 1, it changed my fraction game completely. And do go ahead, hit the subscribe and like, as that will really help the channel, and look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you. Bye.